Right, so let's begin. Let's get some questions coming in. I'm gonna have a look. Let's take one from Periscope, and then I'll jump over to Facebook. So we'll alternate one from Periscope, one from Facebook. Anything you want to ask that you think I can help you with. Certainly not the guru with all the answers, but I definitely feel that I can help with a lot of things that people might be struggling with. Anything acting related, anyway. Okay, acting related, voiceover related, productivity related, motivation related. Anything to do with positive psychology, habit creation, those kind of things. Give me some questions. I'll take one on Periscope now, and then we'll dive out of Facebook, and I'll take one from Facebook as well. I like doing this little multicast thing. I'm guessing people are watching on Facebook who would not normally tune into these. Are casting director workshops worthwhile? Says Warren, and then Fanny's got one on branding. Keep that question, Fanny. I'll look at that. I'll look at that soon. Warren's question came through. So, casting directors workshops, are they worthwhile? It depends on how you are looking at them. Right. So many actors get casting directors workshops confused with something else. They think that a casting directors workshop is actually an audition. All right, it's a paid audition. If I pay this person 45 quid, then I effectively get to audition in front of them. I'm going to blow their socks off and they're going to give me a part in something, all right? That's the wrong way to look at it, okay? There's a few things going into play in casting directors workshops. One, the Casting Directors Guild, which most casting directors are the decent casting directors are a part of, have very strict guidelines set out in terms of, what casting directors can do in workshops, how much they can charge people. There's even rules on how, I'm sure Andy Pryor told me this, he's the financial chair of the Casting Directors Guild. He told me that I'm pretty certain that there are rules on, when you can bring those people you've seen in for auditions and this kind of thing. It can't effectively be seen as a paid audition, all right? If you are going to them and thinking they are that, then you're going to be disappointed, because 9 times out of 10, the casting directors won't even take your CVs away. A few things have to come into play in terms of they would have to be casting something right there and then that you would be suitable for. They may only cast one project a year that you would be suitable for, so the chance of you being brought in straight away from a workshop is very, very rare indeed, unless they're looking for something super specific and you've got very, very lucky. And it depends really as well on the follow-up in terms of if you do create a rapport and the beginnings of a relationship with a casting director, because ultimately the whole industry, let's be honest, is predicated on relationships. Life is predicated on relationships. The better your relationships with people of influence and just, good people in the world, the higher quality those relationships are, and the quantity of those that you have, the more chance you have of success in everything, because you're surrounding yourself with great people. These people don't walk away from there generally thinking of the 15 people that they've just seen in a workshop and going, I must get all those people in. They will forget you if you don't follow up and nurture those relationships. So once you've done a casting directors workshop, it's not like being sycophantic and sucking up or that kind of thing, but I would make sure that I noted down the date of when I'd been to that workshop, and then I would touch base once immediately afterwards. Thank you so much for for running that workshop. Really enjoyed it. This is what I learned from it. And then that does one or two things. So that gets your headshot in front of that person again as well. So that that's like 2 points of contact. They've seen you in person. They've then seen your headshot. In marketing and anything in life, there's been loads of studies done on this. You often need multiple touch points with someone before they will buy a product or before they will trust you or buy into your brand. So they might go and visit your website, and there's no coincidence when you visit someone's website, you then go on Facebook and they retarget you with an ad of that pair of trainers you were just looking at. You'll see it in banner ads here and there. You'll see it in Twitter ads. They're hitting you with multiple touch points to remind you that they're there, that you were looking at that thing that you might be interested in. It's the same in everything in life. So you would want to follow up with contact to that casting director once you've done the workshop. You would want to then maybe connect on LinkedIn at some point, not straight away because you're going to look like a crazy stalker. And then you might want to, next time you've got a job or you've booked a gig, you get in touch with them again. Because it really is a case of out of sight, out of mind, because these people, have thousands of people in front of them all the time. But you've got to do it tactically, like, well, not tactically, you just got to do it kind of like sensibly so that you don't come across as some kind of crazy weirdo. But if you can go to a workshop, this is the thing as well, you've got to be good. No amount of contacts after a workshop, if you were shit in the workshop, is going to get you a job. So if you're going to these workshops, make sure you're ready to go to them. For one, you're competent enough. You may be doing a weekly acting class or a bi-weekly acting class anyway, and you're like, right, I'm now at the point in my career where I feel I can go into this room and they can give me a script cold, which they often do, and I can do a really good job of it. Because no matter how good your marketing is afterwards, if you're just, if your scene sucked, then it sucked. So you're not going to get called anyway. So be ready. But ultimately, I think if you go, enjoy the experience, look at it for what it is. It's just an opportunity to work. I kind of feel like once you've been to one or two, you've been to them all, says Alex. Yeah, I mean, a lot of them are similar, definitely. I think there is definite merit in meeting these people, these different people, than actually learning about them, because you'll see them in kind of an audition setting, so you'll see how they work. So if you do go in for a real audition at some point, it's like you're not going into a stranger. You've met them before, and you've seen how they work. You might know what they like. And also, this is really, really crucial. At every workshop you go to, it's just as valuable to watch everybody else as it is to get your 5 minutes up there performing. You will learn so much from seeing other people make mistakes and other people having success. Don't just sit at the back of the class with your head in your iPhone or something like that when other people are up and they're working. A, it's ignorant. It's not a good look. If someone catches you like that, they're like, you're not a team player. That is losing DNA. You're not a winner. And learn. Yeah, learn from those other people who are there, because I've learned so much from watching other people. Ali says, and also out of respect. Yeah, obviously, a lot of people do that. I have seen that where they've got their performance over with, and it's like they might as well not be in the room, and it's just not fair. The energy and the focus from the room goes, and it's not fair. That person who's had to sit right until the end, maybe because they were shit scared of putting their hand up and volunteering to go first, suddenly, hey Joy, how you doing? They suddenly have the whole energy's depleted, and they just feel like everybody's just, they rush it because everyone just wants to go now. It's not fair. Great to see how other people play the same scene in a different way. That's another thing. If you're given, the same script, it's very interesting. A lot of people are like, oh, it's so boring. I've seen it 16 times now. Well, what really have you seen? What subtleties have you seen? How different people played it? Has someone gone completely, made very bold choices and performed in a way that you wouldn't have ever expected it? Sometimes that doesn't work, but it's interesting that they took that risk, and that's got to be commended in itself. So on a whole, I think they're a positive experience if you go into it with your eyes open. If you go into it thinking that it's an audition and you're going to get discovered, then you're probably going to be disappointed, because casting directors, will generally be in a project anyway that they're casting, and they'll leave the workshop and they'll go and focus back on that. They're not really, focusing 100% on, casting the people in the room. Occasionally they might find someone and go, wow, serendipity, I was looking for someone just like this and here they are. But I think that's pretty rare. So just go with, realistic expectations. But I think you should definitely do them, because they take guts, Alex, and to perform in front of strangers takes guts, and that's something that people should practice more and more. Making inroads with people in the industry is really important. And you might not get a gig from that casting director, but you know what? You might end up getting a gig from another actor in the room who you make a friendship with, and then you decide you're going to create a web series with, or you're going to do some sketches with, or a showreel scene, and you get something super positive out of it that way. So I say go for it. Don't spend all your cash on that, though. Don't go, I'm going to go to a workshop and not pay for my spotlight, because workshops can be really dear. They can be like 60 quid, I think, now. That's the thing. It's getting more expensive, isn't it? It's getting more and more expensive. This is why on Act on This, I like to kind of bring the casting directors to you and do it online. Way cheaper, so that people get Q&As with the casting directors and, can at least hear how they work. Okay, you don't get to perform, but I think the information you get from the podcast and the videos that I do is still, invaluable. It's so valuable. I get that, but you feel that it didn't, so you come out sometimes feeling it doesn't benefit you. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to do them all, Alex. That's what it comes down to. I mean, ultimately, do a few, and then you really want to be seeing these casting directors for auditions. So focus your time and your work on actually making inroads to get auditions. I think that a lot of people just see workshops as a shortcut, and it's bullshit. It really isn't. It just is not a shortcut to actually being called in. It just isn't. Full stop. So you've got to look at it for for what it is. You've got to put the hustle in and the work in, not just pay. If it was that easy, you just pay your 50 quid for a workshop and suddenly you get an audition. Everyone would have auditions all the time, wouldn't they? But it's definitely not how it works. So that kind of helps. But I do think they are positive. But check on the casting director as well before you go. Anything from the Actors Guild, they're all bona fide and decent. I see a lot of kind of, not loads, but I've seen a couple of plastic casting directors kind of just spring up who have never cast anything. They're not, the big guys who most people know. They're just like, oh yeah, I'm a casting director for film and TV. It's like, well, what have you cast? You've cast like an independent band's music video. You're not a casting director. And then they're quite happy to still take 20, 30, 40 quid for a Skype session. It's bullshit. IMDb them, look at their CV, just as you would do an actor's CV. It's just as important, Just because they call themselves a casting director doesn't mean they are a casting director, or at least one that could give you work. Right, going over to Facebook. Alex is here. Stefan is here as well. Look forward to some great content, he says. Well, hopefully we'll get a bit of great content, Stefan. Tony says, hey, Ross, would love to hear some mindset switches that got you to quit your job to going full-time in acting and VO. If you had to learn the hard way, would love to hear that too, man. So in terms of mindset switches, and this kind of relates to your question as well, Alex. So Alex asked a question about expediting your acting career. I'm just going to expand this, Alex, so I can see your question again, mate, properly. Let me see. I might have to actually bring this video up. Oh, I'm going to mute myself. See what Alex said before. So Alex said, what would your advice be to actors who want to get their career to the kind of level that yours is at, and how do you do it? So my career is not like a huge, super high level. I'm working regularly in really decent TV drama, but as smaller roles. So, I kind of might get a scene, 2 scenes, 3 scenes, decent roles, but certainly not the leads, and certainly not, the main supporting artists. But I'm generally always working with the leads, which is nice. I've just booked a new drama at the moment called Age Before Beauty. And in that scene, I think we've got people like Sue Johnston, Lisa Riley, who else is in that? Robson Green's in the drama. I don't think he's in the scenes that I'm doing. But it's decent stuff, and it's taken a while. So there's a few things that I would do, Alex, and this kind of falls into what Tony is asking as well about mindset switches. So much of this industry, again, like I said, is predicated on relationships, but so much of it also is predicated on one thing that you absolutely 100% have control of. And I want people to be completely honest with themselves. I'm going to put another little quote up on the screen here, because it's something that I thought of before I knew this had come up. And this is something that everybody here has absolutely 100% control of. So many people feel that they are victims in the acting industry and that there's so many variables they can't control. This is one you absolutely can, okay? The one thing you have 100% control over is how much work you put in each and every day, okay? So those on here right now who are like, I'm not working as much as I should be, I'm not being seen for auditions as much as I should be, I don't have the agent I should have, or I don't have an agent at all. I genuinely want you to be honest with yourself and ask yourself, how much time today, just today, have you put in to your acting career? And when I'm talking about work, it can be anything. It can be training, so it could be an acting class. It could be correspondence, sending emails. It could be watching other actors, great work, and learning from them. It could be social media marketing. There's so many things that it could be. How many people this weekend had the weekend off? Just genuinely. How many people took Saturday off? How many people went to a concert on Saturday night, watched the football, on Sunday, when they could have been working on themselves, their acting career, their health, anything, but they actually decided that they were just going to, have the weekend off because that's what weekends are for. Loads of people do that, and you can do that, and you can have as much time off as you want as long as you're not complaining. So there's 2 types of people. There's people who complain and those who don't complain. And if you are complaining that you are not where you want to be, then then you need to change something, don't you? Tony says, so you mean woo-woo magic won't get you an agent? No, it won't. So Dawn says just 1 hour today she's put in. So that's it. So you need to look at where your time is leaking from and go, well, you know what? I put 1 hour in today. What did I spend the other 7-8 hours on? Because I've been sat at this computer today since 9:30 this morning. I got up at 6:15. I was in the gym for 7. I was back home by 8:30. I'm not saying this to go, everyone should do this. Some people just wouldn't enjoy this and don't want to do it. I kind of thrive off this. And then I've sat here the entire day working on acts on this, making phone calls, speaking to other actors, booking in podcasts with other people in the acting industry, which is my way of making relationships. And then at 9 o'clock, I was like, right, it's time to jump on Periscope. So by 8:30, I was planning this scope. I'll finish at 10:30 and I'll start again tomorrow morning at about 6:30. And like I say, it's not to go, oh, look at me, this is amazing. But that's kind of like, people go, how do you want a career like, I mean, the one that I've got certainly isn't massive, but if you want a career like the one that I've got, or like ones who are, people have that are bigger than me, you've got to put the hustle in. There's no excuse. It's the only thing that you can absolutely 100% control. And we say all the time, every no is a step closer to a yes. So fall in love with the no's. Every time you get a no, it's like, well, you know what? This isn't like rejection. It's a step closer to getting a yes. But people kind of don't get that, get completely down in a spiral of decline, and then they just stay there. You get out what you put into, Steve. But genuinely, guys, honestly, it's not, I know it's so cliched. It's so cliched, and it's kind of like, you reap what you sow and all this kind of stuff. But you really, really do. And how many of you wanted to reach out to someone today, but you shit yourself because of the fear of losing, like I said before. You feel you were going to lose, so you just went, well, I'm just not going to do it because there's no point anyway. You didn't send an email today you wanted to send. You didn't call someone you wanted to call today. You didn't Facebook message someone you wanted to Facebook message today. Anything like that. Because you were afraid. You were paralyzed. And that's because, in fact, I've still got these slides from the book club, and that's because of this. Because you're looking at your life as a no-win situation. You're at a choice point in your life. Do I go this way and do I go that way? And in your head, there's a right way and there's a wrong way. And then when you take that way and you think that was the right way, you still go, is it the wrong way? How do you personally know when you've started to develop a relationship connection with the CD? Well, in the same way as you would, so Mark, in the exact same way as you would know if you'd started a relationship or rapport with any human being. So this isn't, people need to stop looking at this as well. It's not business to business, business to customer, because I feel I've contacted them for a decade but haven't built any. Well, what have you been doing every time? And Ashley, thanks, she says the book club's changed her mindset. What have you been doing every time, Mark, and why hasn't it been working? Have you been sending the same email for 10 years and it's not been working? Because if that's the case, you've probably spent 9 years repeating the same mistake. And you need to change something up that's quite subtle in that. It doesn't have to be a complete rewrite of everything in your life and your career. But if something wasn't working for 2 years, I'd have changed tactic. Well, if something wasn't working for 6 months, I'd have changed tactic. So for 10 years, we've got to look at, have you been changing tactic? And maybe, you know what, it is still just a matter of having a bit more patience. I'm going to do an interview with an actress called Vicky Myers, who I've mentioned on these scopes before. She's just landed one of the leads in this drama that I'm in. She's waited about 12, 13 years for that. I've known her. Hustle, hustle, hustle. Lots of work, a few tiny parts, but has often felt very forgotten. And I've spoken to her about that personally many times. I was like, you know what? Are people going to notice us? Are we doing the right thing? Do we need to change tactics up? But ultimately, this is the no-win model we've been looking at. So this is where you think you're making a right or a wrong decision, Mark. And when you make that decision that you think's right, you still question it, you think it could be wrong, or if you make the wrong decision, you question it, you go, is this actually the right decision? I don't know. And this is the paradigm shift you need to make, because this is the no-lose model. And the no-lose model basically says, look, there's path A and there's path B, and both of them are right. There's goodies along the way, no matter how it ends up. If it ends up in a negative situation or a positive situation, if I get a no or a yes, there's lessons to learn along the way. And every single time I make a decision, there is no right or wrong. There's just action that I take, and that's predicated on what I feel is right at the time. I can ask people for advice as well, And then when I think that's the right thing to do, I do it, and I don't think it's right or wrong. It's just right. I tend to email to just inform them of a specific reason, new headshot reel, agent, etc. So in your emails, Mark, at all, this is important as well, everybody, right? Loads of people send emails to people just in life, and they say nothing. So they write an email, and it says, "Dear Sir, Madam," and that's wrong. You don't want to start off that to a casting director either. It would have to be, "Hi, Andy, dear Andy." Actually get the person's name. If it's an introduction email, something like, "Just wanted to drop you a really quick email because I've not had the pleasure of meeting you yet. My name's Ross. I'm an actor from Manchester. I'm 35. Right now, up until this point, I've played lots of young professional roles, doctors, lawyers, policemen, etc. If there's anything that you're casting right now you think would be suitable for, we'll be massively appreciative. If you think I'm suitable to call me in, here's a link to my spotlight, which shows my headshot and show reel. Could you please? This is the part you've got to ask for something, okay? And I asked something very basic, which is, could you please just drop me a one-word reply to let me know you've read this email, just so I don't pester you again anytime soon. And that's it. So you're actually giving information, but you're asking for one micro commitment from someone, and that is literally to type, "Got it, send." That's it. That's all I want from them, just to know, so I don't send them an email next week to go, "Hi, did you get that email?" But if you're sending emails, and you can ask for other things, you might know that they're doing general auditions right now, or you might know that they're casting a particular project because your friend's been seen for it, and you think you're suitable also because your friend said, "Oh, there's actually a role in this script that I've got that would be suiting you." You can reach out. You can get your agent to reach out. But ask. I say this all the time. Life will pay any price you ask of it, but what are you asking for? And most people in this industry are not asking for anything. They are apologizing for their existence. "Hi, Andy. So sorry to bother you. I know you're really busy." Yeah, that tends to be the tone of my emails. I tend to ask to meet sometime if anything's suitable. Jason from Acting Business Breakthrough often offers good advice on sending emails out. Yeah, Jason's a good guy. It's about remembering that there's no difference between a casting director or any other person on the planet. So in marketing, a lot of people think, you might have heard the terms in business to business, B2B, okay, that's business to business, or B2C, business to customer, okay? And it's all bullshit. It's never any of those things. It's always H or H, I should say it properly, H to H, okay? And that is human to human. And ultimately, you just need emotional intelligence, EQ. It's not about IQ, it's about your EQ, and ultimately your people skills. How you would write to, a friend or a colleague in a polite manner is just the same way you would write to a casting director. It doesn't have to be any different. They're just human beings. But don't apologize for the fact that you're emailing. Don't also go way overboard and go completely sycophantic and completely sucking up. Look at it as a business for actually what it is. And if you wanted to make contact with anyone in any other business, it would be exactly the same. Well, then it says learn to hack people in a positive way. It's about understanding behavior. And, and if you go, just ask yourself, if I got this email, would it freak me out or would I be compelled to reply? And that'll tell you. I suppose we always put casting directors on a pedestal when they're really just normal people. Of course they are. It's just a job. People overuse this all the time. Like, they're just people, or like, the first thing someone will say to you about someone they've met who's famous is they'll go, "Oh, you'll never guess what," and they were so nice, and they were so down to earth. Well, of course they were, because they're just a person who does a job, and if you're nice to them, they'll be nice back. But have a look at what you're doing, and if what you're doing now isn't working, something's got to change. And I use the analogy of a farmer driving a tractor, right? And you imagine, so a farmer gets in his tractor, and every day, Mark, for 10 years, he drives the same route to the field, okay? There comes a point where he'll be able to take his hands off the steering wheel because those tyres have dug such big ruts in the mud that those ruts will guide them, to the field, okay? Now, if he just put his hands back on the steering wheel a little bit and turned it 5 degrees to the right, okay, he's not going to get that far if he just travels for 5 minutes. But if he goes, for another 6 hours, with that 5-degree turn to the right, he ends up in a completely different destination to where he was going to end up, where those ruts were just going to take him to. So if you've been stuck in a rut for 10 years and you ended up in the same destination every time, it doesn't mean you've got to rewrite your entire career and your plan and get a new show reel completely and scrap everything you've ever done. It just means we just need a tweak in the way we're doing something. So if you're going to tweak your email correspondence as well, and multiple touch points as well, like I say, LinkedIn, Twitter, in person. I work as a social coach, so I can usually calibrate tone well, but you're right, something isn't working. And that's it. And that's the first, it's the breakthrough right there, admitting it ain't working. What I'm doing isn't working. There came a point a couple of months ago where I need more people to convert on Acts on This to premium member to support me to go premium, which is where you basically, guys, you pay 10 quid a month to get access to everything I put out on Acts on This. So all the premium podcasts, premium video interviews that I do with the biggest names in the business, the greatest minds in the business, all the casting directors, great actors. I've got people like Debbie Horsfield, the writer who wrote Poldark. She's wrote this new drama, Age Before Beauty. People super, super high up in the industry coming on and ultimately giving all of their knowledge in these interviews. 10 quid a month. It's an absolute no-brainer. But I was like, I don't understand why more people aren't converting. I was going, this is all great content. I was going, the content is brilliant, but maybe the way that I'm putting it out there and the way that I'm actually, marketing or communicating with people isn't right. And sometimes it's hard to go, it's just not working. Something's not right. Because we all want to believe that everything we do is the best. Isn't it? It's like, well, I don't understand. This is great. Why aren't people watching my YouTube channel? It's brilliant. There comes a point where you just got to admit it ain't working. So one, either it ain't as good as you think it is, or two, the way you are putting it out there is broken. Fundamentally, it's not right, and maybe it's just your correspondence that's broken. It's not you as an actor or your performance or your talent. It's just the fact that the way you are marketing yourself right now isn't working. So time is going to pass anyway. Don't worry. For the next year, we've just got to make that 5-degree shift, and you'll end up in a way, way, way different destination than you were going to if things were going to stay as they are. But yeah, things that I would do absolutely are make sure, if I was going to start again from scratch with nothing, I would go, right, these are things that I'm going to do. So most people in here are on Spotlight. You've got to be on Spotlight. You want to get 2 scenes. If you've not got a show reel, get 2 very decent scenes on your show reel that show you as close to who you are as possible. Because right now, for your first few jobs, you're going to be playing yourself to a certain extent. You're going to be cast to type because that's what a lot of people do. And it's not until later on in your career you're going to be able to play against type when people are going to give you a chance at that. This year isn't over yet, says Joy. It definitely isn't. We've got 6 months. 6 months left to be able to make 2017 the best year ever, guys. Plenty of time left. So I would make sure I've got 2 scenes on my reel that are me, strong, playing to type, exactly who I am. And then I would make sure my headshot is strong as well. And then I would sit down and I would look at all of the casting directors who are casting things. I would use IMDb, and this might take you days to do this, but that time's going to pass anyway, all right? You sit down, hustle, says Ashley. You sit down and you go through IMDb. You go through BBC iPlayer, ITV Hub if you're in the UK, whatever you guys have in America, all the the big networks, and you look at all the stuff that you can see yourself in. Genuinely, not things that you wish you could be in. I ain't ever going to play the Incredible Hulk, I don't think, or Superman. I've got to have some self-awareness for actually what I'm going to be employed as. And right now in my life and career and the way that I look, it's going to be young professionals, which is what I'm constantly being called in for. So that is my casting type, okay? And then I'm going to look at all the programs that employ these young professionals. I'm going to go on IMDb. I'm going to see who casts them. And then I'm going to start reaching out to those people with my show reel, which is on Spotlight, along with my headshot. And I'm going to be super nice in my correspondence, but super brief, and also to the point, business-like. And I'm just going to be reaching out going, hi, we haven't met yet. You don't know me. But I really wanted to send you my CV and show reel. This is who I am. These are the parts I currently see myself playing. I'm happy to take one line in anything. I would just love to get in the room with you. If there's any opportunities or general auditions coming up, don't hesitate to bring us in if possible. I'll travel at a minute's notice. Done. And then I would do 5, and then I would wait 3 weeks. if I don't get any correspondence back in those 3 weeks, because I would ask at the end of those emails as well, please could you just drop me a reply, even if it's just 2 words to say you've got this email. If I didn't hear anything back within 3 weeks, I would change my letter up. So a lot of people make one letter and then, one email, and then they send it to 25 people. And if there was something fundamentally broken in that email, they've wasted 25 chances there, as opposed to doing 5 initially, wait a couple of weeks, then another 5, and then you can kind of gauge the interaction, the engagement with your email that way. But ultimately, reach out and ask. They can only say no. And then, touch on multiple touch points. Check out Twitter, Instagram if they're on Instagram. It's growing and growing and growing until people, hit you back. And if they don't, you keep hustling on yourself. Reach out to other actors and go, look, I'm thinking of, I want to get involved with stuff. I'm thinking of either shooting another showreel scene, or I know you're doing this web series. Any chance I can come and just help out initially? I don't even need to be in it. Just think of it like asking your mum for money, says Steve. I don't ask my mum for money, Steve, but as a kid I definitely did. But yeah, get involved, help out. Ultimately, you've got to look at what value you can bring other people, so other people want to be around you and want you involved with stuff. So it would be, for me, I've got some studio lights here. If I wanted to get involved with somebody now who I knew was making a film, I'd go, hey, notice you're making that film. Do you need any lights? I've got some here. Happy to donate them if I can come down on set and see what you guys are doing. You don't want to go straight in for the kill. And there's some read a really interesting book, guys, called The 12 Steps of Intimacy. So this is how you build rapport. So you were asking about how do you know when you've built a relationship with a casting director? Use the 12 Steps of Intimacy to gauge that. Okay, it would be writing to a casting director or speaking to a casting director the minute you've met them and asking them for a job is like asking a girl or a boy to marry you on the first date or in the bar before you've even been on a date. A lot of people want to do that. They just want to go straight because they're so impatient. They want to go straight for the kill. But the 12 Steps of Intimacy works like this. It goes initially eye-to-eye contact, where you go, oh, I'm attracted to this person, okay? Then eye to body, okay? And then it goes all through lots of steps, like hand to hand to body, hand to face, all the way through till literally ended up in bed with this person, all right? Generally speaking, unless you're on Tinder, it doesn't go from meeting someone eye to eye to straight into bed with them. And life doesn't work like that either. You've got to take people through this journey of intimacy, effectively. So it might be initially favoriting somebody's tweet on Twitter. That's initially like eye to eye. Then replying to a tweet a couple of days later is like eye to body. Dropping them an email with your CV is like, hand to hand. And you've got to build it up. It takes time. You've got to be patient, fall in love with the process, and not be crippled by the no's you get. I can't even remember the last time I had a no. And it's not because I haven't had any. I've had shitloads. I just spend that little time thinking about them. I genuinely can't even remember. And it will have been this month because I send emails out all the time, not just in my acting career, but also for Acts on This and to get people involved with interviews, text messages that don't get replies, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I spend so little time focusing on the no's because I'm already on to looking for the next opportunity. I'm just not bothered about it. You've got to just be like ridiculously optimistic. Someone told me once that a great way to do it is to get them to think subconsciously. What do you mean, Alex? About what? Through Twitter, etc. Just multiple touch points, definitely, where people go, oh, wait a minute, I don't know this person, but I'm sure I've seen that face before. Or, where do I know that person from? It's interesting. So I don't even know what question spawned all that, but I hope that kind of like gave some people some ideas. Ultimately, I just want you to come off this scope tonight with some inspiration to actually take some action tomorrow. If you have a relationship with the casting director and they with your agent, is it bad form to ask them to what? Recommend a new agent? It's always an interesting one. So it depends how well you know them. Again, like anything, again, this is just the same as any other relationship. If you were going out with a girl and you knew her friend very well, would it be good to ask her friend for recommendations for a new girlfriend? I don't know. It would depend how well you knew that person, ultimately. And also, a lot of people I spoke to. So I went on a train. I went on a train down to London for a read through. I'll answer that question in a second, David. Remind me of that one again. For this new drama last Tuesday, I think it was, and I spent the whole journey back with David Martin, the casting director, who would cast this, and people around the table were talking about agents, and he genuinely said, look, I think a lot of people always think the grass is greener. He says, and a lot of the times he just sees actors stuck in the same ruts they were in when they were with their previous agent, and it's not because of their agent, it's because of them. And in terms of what they are still doing, again, it's they are still stuck in their own rut, the way they conduct themselves, the way they perform at auditions, the amount of work they put into their career to develop themselves as a person and an actor. It can't all be your agent. It really isn't. My agent Jane's great. Frankie at the agency as well, she's awesome, really, really good. But I do genuinely look at those guys and go, look, I'm paying you 15%. So your job is to do 15% of the work. I'm going to go and do another 85% on top of that. Don't just sit here waiting for them. And I know a lot of people who have moved from small agents to people like Curtis Brown and United and have just fallen into an abyss because they're forgotten and they take so little action themselves on a personal level that their agents even forget about them. Because they've got other clients to deal with who are working and who are bringing in the money. So if you're not doing stuff on your own terms and trying to get your own work and making your own inroads, you're making your job infinitely harder. So much harder. And David, I think your question was, should you put a self-tape on a show reel? My answer to that would probably be no, unless it's filmed beautifully and looks like it's not a self-tape. The only reason I would ever use self-tapes or class footage and that kind of thing for show reels is not to show casting directors, but to show agents. I actually got my current agent through showing a footage that was recorded in class. If you do something it's a difficult one, actually. I spoke to Lee Boardman today as well. So those all know Lee Boardman, top actor. He phoned me, and a girl in this drama as well, he recommended to the director who Lee's really good friends with, because Lee also runs acting classes, and she blew him away in an acting class, and he went, wow, you've got to see this girl. And he showed the director directly, and he was like, right, I'm going to bring this girl in and see what she could do. So it depends. If your self-tape is incredible, and you're like, wow, this is the best performance I've ever done in my life, don't put it like publicly out as your show reel, because I think other people just think that's amateur. But if it's very, very specific, and you're like, this is my best performance ever, definitely send it direct to people if you're like, this is going to knock their socks off. And just say, apologies, this isn't a show reel scene. This is just what I'm working on in class. I'm very proud of it. And I think it suits the kind of stuff you cast right now. Would really appreciate you watching it. So if you don't have any footage besides self-tapes, use them to contact agents. Yeah, you can absolutely. Self-tapes, absolutely. Agents aren't bothered about it all looking like it's on TV. Their job is to get you on TV. And if they can see raw talent, or it doesn't matter if it doesn't look great, if they can see, wow, this kid can clearly act, he or she is brilliant, the agent's going to want to take you on, because ultimately you're a commodity that they can earn money from. It's a business. So if I saw somebody who was amazing, I'd be like, yeah, I know this girl or boy is going to book jobs, bring them on. And then I would say, right, we need to get you a show reel shot. We need to get you at least one scene that's shot professionally, so we can show you in a better light. I think people always know what's been shot from scratch as well on show reels. I don't think you can really get one over on anybody to go, this was actually on TV, because we just know TV so well. They'll know it's not a program they recognise. If they're in this industry, most casting directors and agents just watch everything. So there comes a point where you're like, you know what, no matter how good this shot from scratch show reel looks, I still know it's a show reel shot from scratch. So you maybe just, if you don't have anything, get one shot from scratch show reel done. Try and get representation from that, or from the class footage you've got, or self-tapes that you've already got. And then obviously aim to get your first TV credit as quick as possible. And if it's just one line, doesn't matter, it's one line. My agent took a risk with me and experience-wise, so I guess that says something, says Steve. But you get some great class footage, Steve, as well, mate. So you did exactly that. The class footage that you were shot at Thinking Actors was really, was quite high-end, class footage. Ross should be an agent as well. You'd be awesome. Oh, if only. I should be, God, I can't even be my own agent, Eloise. I don't know about anybody else's. But maybe, you know what? Maybe in 25 years' time, I don't know. I don't know if it's something I'd really want to go into. But yeah, Bobby, definitely try it out. If you're looking for representation and all you've got to work with is self-tapes, it's fine. It's currency. Use whatever you've got. That's ultimately that's something that's really important as well. Use what you've got. And if that's all you've got, then you might as well use it, There's nothing wrong with that. I'm going to go over Facebook. I've still got we'll go for 15 more minutes. Let's have a look. Johnny John's here. Michael Schofield. Michael went premium today. Michael, thank you, man, for supporting Acts on this. You did. I noticed that upgrade. Really, really appreciate that. You've now just got access to another 150 hours worth of stuff you wouldn't normally get access to if you're only a free member. How do you find out about general auditions? Charlotte says. It's a difficult one. They don't happen very often, Charlotte, to be honest. And a lot of the time they happen often on a per agent basis. So sometimes agents will pull favours off casting directors and say, will you see some of my people? And the agent, if they're really friendly with the casting director as a favour might say, well, you know what, send me your top 10 people that I haven't seen and we'll do a little workshop. It's quite hard, really. Casting directors don't have a lot of time anymore for general auditions, but it's always worth an ask. Tell you who does do general auditions, people like the continuing dramas, so Hollyoaks, ITV, for Emmerdale and for Coronation Street. I'm sure, I've never been seeing for EastEnders, but I'm sure EastEnders will do similar stuff. So if you're looking for generals, you've probably got more chance of going to those those people as opposed to independent casting directors. I would definitely look at that. The harder you work, the luckier you become, says Simon Hibbs. You absolutely do, Si. 100%. Johnny John says loves the show. Cheers, Johnny John. Let's have a look. Any other questions on Facebook? But going back to your point about mindset, Tony, yeah. Patrick, Mickey Jones and Faye Styron. Yeah, so Faye Styron's at ITV, Jenny Radcliffe's at ITV. So Jenny does Corrie, Faye does Emmerdale, and Peter Hunt is at Hollyoaks, for those who need to know that. If you want to get in touch. I don't know if they're doing any generals soon, but it's definitely worth a look. So Tony, going back to your mindset shift about the thing that got me out of my full-time job into acting and taking that plunge, you're talking about mindset. That was what I put up before. So I didn't just leave straight away and take the plunge in terms of, right, I'm going to leave stability into nothing. I transitioned quite slowly over 6 months. Then I had to take a jump. But ultimately it was that. The fear of losing out did not trump my excitement of winning. The excitement of me leaving and actually having a life and not having to work Saturdays and not having to work every Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve and Boxing Day was really exciting. Having time on my own, to actually focus on what I really wanted to do, which was, focus on my acting and my voiceover career. But I hustled my ass off, like literally. So the next quote that I put before about the work, the thing that you have control over, that quote there, I didn't go out. I didn't have weekends off. I had the fear of I guess the only fear that drove me was the fear of not earning any money, going, this needs to work. There's no alternative. This has got to work because I've just left any stability financially that I had. If you could recommend one thing to do every day to further my acting career, what would it be? Actually, it would purely be to schedule one thing a day that answers this question. Okay, Steve, I missed your question you put up on Periscope there, mate. Apologies. Put it up again in a second and I'll make sure I cover it. You need to ask yourself this question. And ideally, you do it the night before. So a lot of people have told, I've told a lot of people about the punch list that I create. And a punch list is really 3 things that I want to achieve tomorrow. I think on my punch list, I've even written 2 of them up already. So every night, I'll write down 3 things that I have to achieve tomorrow. And it's almost like pre-rehearsing them in my head that these are things I'm going to get done. So when I wake up, I've got clarity. It's like I've already done them. I know this is what I've got to do. So I don't wake up in the morning and go, right, I've now got to figure out what I've got to do. So tomorrow, I've got here already 3 things that I need to do specifically within the Acts on This business that I run, so the website I run. Tomorrow it says build out the pre-launch content pages for Bulletproof Actor. So for those, Steve, write that question again in a sec when I ask for it. Otherwise, I'm going to miss it. I'm sorry, mate. Hopefully you've copied and pasted that. For those who don't know, I run a mindset program for actors just twice a year. It opens just for 7 days, twice a year. It's a 5-week in-depth program on high performance and positive psychology to ultimately enable you to install an unstoppable confidence so that you go into an audition or whatever area of your life completely ready to kill it, in a peak state of mind, just certain that you're going to do a great job. And I'm going to be launching that on June the 29th, I think, is the launch date for that. But I've got to build out some pages to advertise on the bulletprooffactor.com website before I can launch it. So that's one of my jobs for tomorrow. Go check out bulletprooffactor.com if you want to get on the waiting list, by the way. I only take 50 people on that. I know it will sell out. It did last time and the time before. So yeah, bulletprooffactor.com if you want to. Miss Gypsy says worth taking. Appreciate it, Karen. Check that out if you want to get on this next time. Then I've got to publish an article written by a guy called Tony Gibbons on the site. He's a Brit in LA. He's writing a series of articles for me on acting in LA as a Brit. So if you're in Britain and you're a UK resident and you're like, I want to go and act in Hollywood, follow his series of articles he's going to be writing for me. I'm going to publish the first one tomorrow. And then I've got to write up some tickets, some technical tickets for my web developer for some things that I want him to do on the website in order to make it even better. So they're my 3 things for my punch list tomorrow. So Ashley, you should write down now your 3 things on your punch list before you go to bed. And these are 3 things that you are going to get done tomorrow in any area of your life, but specifically answer the following question. Okay, so these 3 things answer this question. And that question is... Would the same count if you're in Ireland and want to work in America? Absolutely, Bobby. It's not just for British people, Irish people as well. The question actually is this. What is the one thing that I could do right now that would make everything else easier or unnecessary? Okay? And then you choose your one thing, okay? And then you've got that. That's the first thing on your list, okay? So for me, it's building out the Bulletproof Actor pages. Then after that, you go, okay, well, what's the next one thing, I guess? You asked that question 3 times, so you've got to prioritize. So what's the next thing that I could do that would make everything else easier or unnecessary, and then that other thing as well? And some of these things sometimes are really mundane. They will be like literally, doing an Amazon order for all my essentials and paper. And I had to order paper today and ink for my printer and stuff like that. So they're not like, exciting stuff sometimes, but they are things that are going to make everything else easier or unnecessary. And then you get your 3 things down before you go to bed. You can go to bed content, knowing what you're going to do in the morning. You wake up with drive, motivation, and clarity. So that's the thing I would introduce into your rituals or into your schedule on a daily basis, to just schedule 15 minutes a night, to write a punch list for the next day. And you will be so much more productive because you're not going to have that brain fog in the morning. You're like, what do I do? And Bobby is excited by paper and ink, so maybe for you, you'd have loved my punch list a couple of days ago, though. Yeah, I ordered a whole ream of paper, a whole box of it. So yeah, hope that helps. I'd recommend it to everybody, though. Use a tool called Workflowy, Workflowy, workflowy.com, completely free. It's a listing app. I can show you. I've shown you it before, haven't I? Let me share this with you. I'll just show you how this works, guys. That's bulletproofactor.com, by the way, that you see in there. This is the mindset program that I run twice a year. You'll read all about it on here, what it does. You'll see testimonials of people, exactly what you get. It's like 5 hours of video, audio. There's all the units we go through. There's a really cheesy picture of me. We do live coaching as well, online in groups. There's Rachel Shenton giving a testimonial with a few other people. You'll know Rachel from Hollyoaks and Switched at Birth in the States. And there's a button at the bottom. That's who it's for. It's not for you. See that button there? You click on that. And if I click on that, it'll open up that page there where you just put your email address in and you'll get on the early bird list. If you're interested in being a part of that, would absolutely love to have you on board. But I'll show you Workflowy. Have I got it on here? Might have to open another tab up. Bear with me. I'll show you how it works. It's so simple. Workflowy.com. Log in. Organize your brain, it says, and this should hopefully bring up my list. So there's my past week of things that I've done and completed, and you'll see there. So today, that's today's actually means tomorrow. If I zoom in on this, you should be able to see it a bit better. If you're watching on your phone, tell me if this actually is zooming in, because otherwise it's going to be very small. There you go. Surely that's a little bit bigger. So you'll see there, build out the Bulletproof Actor pre-launch content on Kajabi. That's the platform I use. Publish Tony's article, and that's on this. Write up code-based tickets for Hugo to start on. Then this week, I've still got to email Chelsea at Hollyoaks to get Haisha Mystery on for a podcast. I've got to book a friend called Navin for a YouTube channel live broadcast, which is all going to be about building your YouTube channel as an actor. He's got about 500,000 subscribers, I think he's hit this week. Got to record a 5 to Thrive podcast. I've got to prep for the 5 Take Friday email on Friday, obviously. And then these are the things I've got to do within the next 30 days. And then what happens basically is I push things from the 30 days into this week, and then things from this week into today. So I always have like a conveyor belt of things that I know I can work on. And then it just makes me productive. I literally wake up productive. So I know what I'm doing. So workflowy.com, I would recommend to everybody to get involved with. It's completely free. Get the app on your phone. It syncs from your phone to your laptop, to your desktop, whatever. Any change you make on one is reflected on the other. Eloise says, I'd recommend Workflowy. It's helped me focus and get shizzle done. However, what's the however, Eloise? Let me know. Have you found a problem with it? I think it's really cool, though. Great app, guys. So Steve says, I did a workshop with Joann Moss from Corrie and sent a show reel. Should I send to Jenny too? Yeah, absolutely, Steve. Jenny's not seen you. She's a completely different person, and I don't think she's got a psychic link to Joann. So, no, the thing is, you don't. So Steve's saying, what if she's already seen it? Well, you don't know if she has. So what you're doing there is you're fortune telling in your head, and you are then catastrophizing, going, oh, if Jenny's already seen it, she's going to think I'm a pain, and then she's not going to see me or something like that. So you're focusing on what could go wrong or what you're going to lose. The facts are you don't know whether she has seen your reel or not. So if she has and she's not brought you in, you have nothing to lose by sending her your reel anyway. Because even if if she's not going to bring you in now from having seen it, it's not going to make any difference you sending it again. She's not going to not bring you in because you've sent it again. She was never going to bring you in anyway. So you've lost nothing. And I'm sure it's not the case. I'm sure she would bring you in for something that's appropriate because you're talented, you're good, and you're northern, and you would suit Corrie definitely. So yeah, you absolutely. He says emails getting sent. Don't hypothesize shit outcomes, guys, due to fear. You're focusing on the minute chance, Steve, that she's already seen it. Chances are she hasn't. Focus on what could go right if you sent it, she hasn't seen it, and she likes you. Because you were just, all the time you've been thinking that, you've been holding yourself back, and you must be able to see that now. And everyone on there is going to be doing shit like that. Lots of things like that. And it's easier said than done sometimes. So Bobby says, do it. You should always do things that scare you. It's hard to push through that. Do you recommend one-to-one teaching with a director, as I haven't been to drama school, an agent recommended? Definitely, absolutely, if they're a really good teacher. So I was speaking to an actor today, and he'd had some one-to-one stuff with Mike Lee recently, and he said it was the highlight of his career, the best training he'd ever had. And this guy had been to a top drama school as well. Now you're not going to get one-to-one training from Mike Lee unless you're already known and you're having success, unless you pay him a lot of money, I'm guessing. But yeah, definitely, if you've got an opportunity to work with someone who you know is great and they're going to give you all of their attention one-to-one, do it if you can afford it. And Steve's definitely going to send that email, and he's going to get himself on Corrie. Do it, man. You could so play one of Nathan's nasty lot on Corrie right now. Definitely. Patrick says Stephen Graham's tutor is worth it. I don't know who that is, but yeah, if you've got an opportunity just ultimately to make inroads and work with anyone in the industry, my kind of thing is I want to meet everyone in the industry. With Workflowy, I wasn't specific initially, said Eloise. Okay, yes, being specific on what you want to get done is really, really important as well. But yeah, I want to... I really want to meet everyone. I just love people. So I'm like, what? If I get an opportunity to meet as many people in this industry as I can, then that's amazing. I don't have to like everybody or, want to work with everybody, but the more people I can meet, the more opportunity I can take if I want to. So try and work with as many people as you can, if they're decent and they're not just, there are definitely, without a doubt, a lot of rip-off merchants in this industry, particularly when it comes to acting classes. So definitely do your research. If you're going to someone who used to be an actor, who's now suddenly set up an acting school, which I think a lot of the time is just utter bullshit, IMDb them. I've done a whole Periscope on this. Research them. If they're promising you success that they never had in their career, and yet they're going, I can teach you how to have success, you can go, well, wait a minute, you didn't have any yourself, then that's just, that is bullshit. That's like this whole fake it till you make it nonsense. It's just nonsense. There's no point in faking it till you make it. If you're honest and authentic, people buy into that way, way more than you pretending you're something that you're not. And you will be found out. That's the thing as well. So hopefully these people who are just basically failed actors who have decided to set up their, all right, Sharon, their own acting school will be found out eventually. And because it annoys me that, but, I'm not wasting any time on a crusade trying to stop it. That's, it's just down to them to be found out. But do your research. It's really important, as you would do with anything. If you're buying a car, I'm sure you want the logbook and you want to look at actually what it's done and the miles it's done. If I'm going to an acting coach, I want to look at the miles they've done. Pretty straightforward, really. But yeah, I hope that helps. Right, one more question. It's 10:05. We've been doing a long time tonight, haven't we? Anything else coming through on Facebook? I'm not looking at Periscope just for a sec, so I'm going to miss it if you write it just now. Don't send it yet. Johnny John's had to go. He says, you're great, have a good one. Thank you, Johnny John. You are also great. Thanks for showing up. Michael says, no worry, happy to upgrade. Looking forward to watching all the videos. Really enjoyed the Saturday meetup. We had a great meetup on Saturday. Thanks, everybody, for coming. Really loving this group. Information so useful and really helpful. Cheers, Michael. Thanks for being a part of it, mate. Really do appreciate that. So there's no more questions on Facebook. So, Periscope, you've got the opportunity, if you want, one more question. Unless you're completely bored of me and you just want to go to bed. But there's still a lot of people on here, so it looks like people aren't too bored yet. So yeah, hit us up with one more question from Periscope if you want. If you want to get work in America, should you do loads of self-tapes just in the accent? Right. So if you want to work in America 100%, you have to nail your American accent. You just do. A lot of the time, a lot of friends I know in America who have gone over there and the ones who are working, they not only have nailed the accent, for the audition, they go into the audition in the accent. And so many times it's not until the end of the audition where they say, and sometimes they don't choose to do this, but they say, thanks for seeing me, see you again. And the casting director goes, oh my God, you're English? And they're like, yeah. And that's because they've absolutely nailed the accent. I think if you can do that, you've got way more opportunity to work. Yes, they will employ people as Brits in American shows. Tony, they love a Brit in America, don't they? Tony's from Chicago. They love that. But yeah, you want to. Bobby says, yeah, Idris Elba did that. So you've really got to go into audition in an American accent. I think if you're doing any accent, it really helps anyway because you're already in it, as opposed to flipping from your native. Unless you're incredible at it, flipping from native into American is sometimes quite difficult. But yeah, you go in. Miss Gypsy says, absolutely love a Brit in America. If you can be American though, you can go for any job. If you're only going to do British, there's going to be fewer jobs for you. What's the best way to learn an American accent? To get a really decent accent coach, Natalie Grady comes highly recommended, and I think her Twitter handle is @NatGrady, Grady. She does accent coaching over Skype, and apparently she's very, very good. I know a lot of people have worked with her. I haven't personally, but she's good. And also check out an app called Accent Kit as well. That's from a group over here in the UK. Who I worked with on a drama called Cradle to Grave, which was with Peter Kay, and Peter Kay had to do, and I had to do a proper Cockney accent like that, and you can see how amazing it is. And we had dialect coaches helping us with the Cockney, because I kept saying a couple of things that were wrong. I kept saying one of the things was what was it? That's a lot of money for someone I kept saying, my line was, one of my lines was, well, that's a lot of money for someone they want to keep. And I was saying someone, and it's not. In Cockney, it's someone. And it's really, really subtle, so subtle, but a Cockney is spot that a mile off and go, he ain't Cockney. I wouldn't spot it because I'm from the north. But Americans, if your American ain't on point, they're going to spot little things. I did 72 episodes of a kids' cartoon as an American last year, and I just finished another 52 actually of a new one in American, so I'm pretty good at American. Mary Jane, her name is Natalie Grady, But I noticed when I played it back on Netflix, I was saying in American, again, and it's not. It would be again in American. Like, oh my God, not again. And I was saying again, because in the UK, I say, oh, he's done that again. Although even that's probably wrong, isn't it? I don't even know, but for some strange reason, I was saying again anyway. Most people wouldn't notice it, but I watch it back and it jars on me. I go, oh, no, I kind of said that, and the editors didn't pick it up. And no, Mel says, yeah. She says, yeah, it would be. So, yeah. I don't know why I did that, Mel, but no one picked it up, and none of the script editors picked it up, and it's made it to the final thing. You go and watch it on Netflix. It's called Wakfu. I play a crazy guy with ginger hair called Persidal, but it's great. Thanks, Dawn. Cheers for being here. But yeah, it's little things like that people will pull you up on, or are going to find you out on. So yeah, nail your accent if you're going to go to American. Wakfu, spelled W-A-K-F-U, Mel. Sir Persidal, that's exactly right, Bobby. Persidal, though, not with an R. Look it up, Wakfu. You'll find 72 episodes of it. Persidal's pretty good. Mel, do it, actually. Let me know what you think my American accent's like. There's a lot to go at. I reckon it got better after, episode 40 or something. But yeah, check it out. Wakfu. I think the pronunciation is Wakfu for the real fans. But I just call it Wakfu. Most watchers don't notice. I've seen awful accents on TV that people don't notice, says Mark. In the UK, definitely, I've seen some big actors almost forced into roles that they probably shouldn't have been in just because they'll get bums on seats, and they've had to do accents that, bless them, they just haven't, it's no fault of their own. They're just either not natural accents, not kind of great at picking up accents. I don't think I've got a super great ear for accents. And obviously, they've just not had a lot of rehearsal time, and you go, oh, they're slipping in and out of that every couple of minutes. So it is hard. It's difficult. I'm not saying I'm perfect at it. Go and watch Wakfu. You'll soon realise that I'm definitely not perfect at it. But it's practice. You just got to look for constant improvement in everything you do. So it's interesting, guys. So I hope that, that's covered a bit of stuff. I'm going to do this open Q&A on the first Monday of every month. From now on. So we're going to do another one in July. Join us for that. But I will be back on Wednesday night for a book club, the Acts on This TV book club. And I don't know what book we're doing yet. I ordered a book for the book club, but it's actually gone back. The pre-order date of it has gone back until the 16th. So it's not going to be here in time. It's only the 6th tomorrow. So, no, 7th on Wednesday. So, it's not going to be here in time. So I'm going to have to get another book for the book club. If you've got any recommendations, please leave them in the Facebook comments if you're watching on Facebook, or tweet me at Act on This TV. Power of Music's here. Hello. Thanks for joining us, but we're just wrapping up. You have to watch the replay in a minute. Apologies for that. But yeah, you've joined us just at the end of the scope. But thank you for joining us. Join us next time live. But yeah, Wednesday night, guys, 9 p.m. And then... I'll be launching a podcast on Friday on iTunes. Search for Act on This TV, all one word. And if you're listening on the replay on the Act on This TV audio experience on iTunes, you listen to this audio, massively appreciate you for sticking here till the end. Do come and join us live next time. Thank you, Eloise. Missed a few of the comments there. Thank you. Cheers, Steve. Absolute pleasure. And yeah, I hope that that helps. And join the Facebook group as well. Facebook.com/groups/Act on This TV. This is where we can carry this on. People can continue to ask questions, and we can all help each other. Thank you. I'm missing all these comments, but I think people are just saying thanks. Appreciate you for being here. The interesting thing now, guys, because I'm actually scoping on while I'm on Periscope and I'm on Facebook Live, is I still don't know how to end all this elegantly. So people will have to just bear with me for a few minutes till I actually learn how to actually end this properly. I'm just going into Facebook now on my laptop, so hopefully find how I can end the broadcast. But for those who want to stick around a little bit. Those on the audio experience, not really a lot more for you to see, but thanks for keeping me company. Right, I'm going to end the live video on Facebook. So to everyone on Facebook, appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here. I hope it's been useful, and I will catch up with you guys very, very soon. So bye for now on Facebook. That's you Facebookers done. And now I will end the streaming on here, which should end it on Periscope. Someone asked about putting on Facebook page their reel for feedback. Karen, anyone who wants feedback on the show reel, post it in the Facebook group. 100%. Everybody can comment on that. That's really, really valuable, really useful to do. So definitely do that. And yeah, for those who are still here, throw that out one more time. The one thing you have 100% control of is how much work you put in every day. So tomorrow, get up and just put in more work than you've ever put in before. And you're going to get so much further, so much faster, guys. It's all about the hustle. Stefan, yes, he's putting the muscles up. All about the hustle. Thanks, David. Thanks for the advice. Got loads from today. Massively appreciate you, mate. Grateful that you were here as well. And I'll catch you with you guys Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Until then, bye for now.